Hello from the Wood and Fire YouTube channel. This is a brand new microphone from Shure that's called the Nexadyne 2. This is a microphone that's intended for recording bass drum, but today we're going to test how it performs recording a bass. So this is a supercardioid microphone that, as I said, is intended for recording bass drums, but as the bass lays in the same frequency range, more or less, it performs super well also on bass. This microphone makes sure that I only record the sound that's coming from the front of it, meaning the bass cap, and no reflection whatsoever gets in the microphone, pure direct sound. Another great thing about supercardioid microphones is that the proximity effect is stronger than on cardioid microphones. This means that if you place this microphone very close to the bass cap, the low frequencies get exaggerated, you get a much more boomy sound that's very, very good for the bass. This microphone is part of the new Nexadyne series from Shure, which also includes the Nexadyne 5 and Nexadyne 6, which are snare drum and toms microphone. They all have a new dual engine transducer that is supposed to improve the quality of the low frequencies and also to reduce the overall noise. This is very noticeable for me, as you will see right now, because from what I tested, I couldn't hear any noise at all from this microphone, only the usual noise that's produced by the bass amp. Okay, so no more talking and let's try this out. Okay, so as you have seen, I recorded the bass using my 10-inch box. I used this microphone, placing it slightly off the center of the speaker. Things I really like about this microphone. First is the attack that the microphone is able to record. Usually I need a compressor to pull up the attack of my playing, but with this microphone it's really not needed. The sound is super direct, it sounds almost like a DI box, but having all the positive aspects of recording a bass cap, as it doesn't sound so dry and has this natural sound. But as I said, you may have heard it yourself, the sound is super direct. I mean, I could really use it directly in my mix. I wouldn't need to use a compressor or anything on it. So the second thing that I really like is that the sound is super high-end. I mean, you can hear all the details and even all the mistakes. The microphone still has a lot of power on the bass frequencies, of course, but the highest frequencies of the bass get recorded perfectly. You can hear everything. And the third thing that I really like about this microphone is the noise aspect. It really doesn't produce any noise at all. The only thing you hear is any noise that your bass amp can produce, but the microphone itself, nothing, super quiet. So the good thing about this is you could play the bass amp really quiet. For example, if you're in your house and you have neighbors and you don't want to disturb them. And you can still record it with this microphone because the noise that the microphone produces is not noticeable, even at very low volumes of the bass amp. With other microphones, usually you need to turn the bass amp quite loud to make sure that the sound of your bass is much higher than the noise that the microphone produces. But this is absolutely not the case with this microphone. Okay, now I recorded the bass using my 15-inch cap. As you may have heard, the sound is more darker, but this is normal when you use a 15-inch cap. I placed the microphone very close to the speaker. This is why I removed the screen, to make sure that the low frequencies are pronounced even more. The sound overall has less top frequency, but still you can hear them. But the lowest frequencies are super powerful here, and the microphone is perfectly able to capture this. This is the kind of sound you would want to get if you're playing, for example, reggae or more vintage kind of styles. And again, the fact that it's a supercardioid microphone is very useful here. When I was playing this 15-inch cap, you won't have heard it, but a lot of things in the room start to vibrate. But this microphone, as it's supercardioid, it only records what comes from the front of it, meaning that any noise from the vibrations that may come from the side of the room, they don't get in the microphone. Overall, what I can say, for me, the best thing about this microphone is the attack and the punch that it is able to capture. To be honest, I've never heard something like this before. I mean, I tried a lot of microphones, not all of them of course, but I tried very expensive condenser microphones, a lot of dynamic microphones, but nothing is similar to the sound this microphone produces. It really takes out the need of using a DI. Of course, I always record with a DI as well, because it's nice afterwards to be able to play with both sounds, to mix them. But this is a microphone that sounds perfectly well by itself. It doesn't need anything else. It sounds super direct, super powerful, but still keeping a lot of the high frequencies and making it sound more high-end, which is for me how a dynamic microphone for bass should sound. For me, it takes away the need of a compressor. If you play the bass the right way, you won't need a compressor with this. And as I said, depending on the style that you play, you can place this microphone on different cap sizes. So if you're going for an old school vintage sound, for example for reggae, you can use a 15-inch cap. But if you're going for a more modern or a more hi-fi sound, for example for rock, this microphone performs super well on 10-inch caps. This was my personal favorite, to be honest. So if you're wondering why you need a microphone at all, if your bass amp has already a DI output, it's true, you technically don't need a microphone, but it's always much better to use a microphone because the sound is more natural. And the good thing is you can record both sounds, the DI sound and the microphone sound, and you can combine them in the mix because each sound has its advantages and disadvantages. And the good thing is that you don't really need a good room treatment to record the bass amp with a microphone, because you can place the microphone very close to the bass amp and you won't hear any reflections, especially if you use a supercardioid microphone like this. So my personal recommendation, if you can afford it, give this microphone a try because I'm sure you will love it. I loved it, and I tried really a lot of microphones, but this microphone, the sound it produces is really unique.